All right, get ready for a big shakeup in India's classrooms. Starting in the 2025-26 school year, sixth graders are going to open their social science textbooks and find a totally new version of their history. I mean, we're talking three books becoming one, ancient civilizations getting new names, and even some key historical figures disappearing from the pages. So let's break down what's really behind this massive overhaul and what it all means for education in India.
So the big question is why? Why now? I mean, this isn't just a minor update, with a couple of new maps thrown in. No, this is a fundamental rethinking of how India introduces its youngest citizens to their own national story. And it's all being driven by a whole new educational philosophy. Okay, so the most immediate, most obvious change is what students will actually be holding in their hands. Before we even dive into the content, the very structure of the textbooks themselves has been completely transformed. So, you know how students used to juggle three separate books, one for history, one for geography, and one for civics? Well, that's gone. Now, they've all been merged into a single integrated book called Exploring Society, India and Beyond. The whole idea here is to stop treating these subjects like they exist in separate boxes, and instead to really start connecting the dots. And this new book, it's not just a random collection of chapters mashed together. No, it's structured around five major themes. Things like tapestry of the past and governance and democracy. The goal is pretty cool, actually. It's to show students how, say, a historical event can literally change a region's geography, which then influences how its government is formed. It's all connected, instead of learning about each piece in a total vacuum. But look, the changes go way deeper than just the structure. Once you open the book, you'll find some very specific content updates that are already getting a ton of attention. So let's walk through the 6 key changes that everyone's talking about. All right, let's go through these one by one. First up, the Harappan civilization is also being called the Indus-Sarasvati civilization now, which links it to a really significant ancient river. Second, when it comes to why it declined, the new textbook points to things like climate change and the drying up of that same river. Third, and this one is pretty fascinating, the book mentions that India had its own prime meridian passing through Ujjain way before Greenwich was the global standard. Fourth, we see a blend of subjects, with Kalidas's poetry being used in geography lessons about the Himalayas. Fifth, as we already covered, those 3 separate books are now just one integrated book. And finally, number 6, and this has definitely sparked some discussion, the word caste is only mentioned once, and a detailed section on B.R. Ambedkar has been removed.
Okay, so to see how all these changes actually work together in a real chapter, let's zoom in on one specific part of the book, the beginnings of Indian civilization. This is a perfect case study to see the new approach in action.
So the chapter kicks things off by laying some groundwork, setting a baseline. What even is a civilization? Well, according to the new textbook, it's an advanced society that has some key features, like a government, urban centers, trade, a system of writing, and of course, enough agriculture to feed everyone. And you can see that kind of urban planning right here. Take a look at this image. This is the North Gate entrance to the castle area in Dholavira, which was a major city in the Indus-Sarasvati civilization. I mean, just look at the scale and the precision there. This clearly wasn't just some random collection of huts. It was a seriously organized city. And to make these ancient places feel more real and less abstract, the book does something really smart. It maps them onto modern geography. So students learn that Dholavira is in today's Gujarat, Harappa is in Punjab, and Rocky Gari is in Haryana. It immediately grounds these historical sites in a context that kids can actually recognize. So the picture that really starts to emerge is of this incredibly advanced society. The new curriculum makes a point to highlight their achievements. We're talking well-planned cities with proper roads and drainage systems, sophisticated water management with wells and reservoirs, and a strong agricultural base. They even created all this intricate pottery and jewelry and had their own unique system of writing, which, by the way, remains a mystery we still haven't managed to crack. So we've seen what has changed, but that brings us back to that bigger question, why? What is the actual educational philosophy that's driving this huge shift towards an integrated, connected way of learning? Well, this quote from an analysis of the new curriculum really hits the nail on the head. It says students can now see how historical events shaped a region's geography and influenced its social structure, rather than learning history as discrete facts. That's the whole ballgame right there. So at its very core, this is a direct challenge to just memorizing facts for a test. The new approach is all about getting students to think critically, to see the world as this interconnected web where a single event can send ripples out across history, geography, and society. So, what's the actual payoff for the students themselves? What are the intended benefits of learning in this new integrated way? Let's take a look.
And the intended benefits are pretty ambitious. The curriculum is designed to enhance critical thinking and problem-solving skills, and to give students a more holistic, big-picture understanding of the world. It also aims to cultivate a sense of national identity and pride. Really, it's about encouraging students to make those meaningful connections between the past and their own lives today, building a foundation of real understanding, not just a list of facts they'll forget after the exam.
And all of this leaves us with a final, really important question to think about. When you stop teaching history as just a list of separate events, and you start telling it as one big, interconnected story of people, places, and ideas, how might that fundamentally change the way a new generation sees their world and their own place within it?